I'm 58 now, and I still remember the moment it all clicked. Not in a good way, more like the last click before a door slams shut. I didn't just wake up one day and become the guy who gets steamrolled at brunch. That mold got poured a long time ago, back in Essex, Connecticut, in a big white colonial with blue shutters, an in-ground pool out back, and a whole lot of nothing going on inside. Everyone thought I had it made. Chuck Bradford's oldest son, Greg, the quiet genius. My dad ran a construction firm that built half the damned county. My mom wore cardigans and pearls and always smelled like lemon furniture polish. Our fridge was full, our lawn was perfect. And every year we did the matching pajamas for the Christmas card. But inside, cold as hell. Derek, my younger brother, could fart and they'd clap. He hit a double once in Little League and got taken out for burgers and a new mitt. I got straight A's for 10 years straight, won back-to-back state science fairs, and you know what I got? That's nice, buddy, and a pat on the head like I was a damn dog. My bedroom was painted soft yellow. Mom said it was soothing. I asked for navy. Too dark, she said. Too serious. You should lighten up, like Derek always Derek. He was goofy and loud and couldn't spell engineer if you spotted him the first 5 letters. But somehow, he was the fun one, the one people loved. Dad didn't help. We expect this from you, he'd say. Derek needs more help. He's not naturally gifted like you. Translation. When Derek screws up, it's cute. When I screw up, it's a disappointment. By high school, I stopped bringing things home. Science fair trophies stayed in my locker. I figured if no one cared, I wouldn't waste the energy. Senior year, I got a full ride to Carnegie Mellon, software engineering, top 5 in the country. When I opened the letter, my hands were shaking. I told my parents after dinner. Dad took a sip of his beer and said, "We could have paid for it. No need to make a big deal." Mom said, "That's nice, dear. Derek's going to UCNN. Isn't that exciting?" He barely scraped in. A business major. They bought him a silver Jetta and a condo near campus. I got a high five at the airport. I still remember calling home that first Thanksgiving, saying I wasn't coming back because I had an internship interview. Silence. Then Dad said, "Well, we'll be here if you change your mind." No guilt trip, no warmth. Just that flat, detached voice, like he was talking to a client, not his kid. Every damn break, Derek had people waiting at the gate when he flew in. Balloons, signs, all of it. When I came home, I Ubered from the airport, let myself in with the spare key, and found cold lasagna in the fridge. Junior year, I built a trading algorithm for a class project. My professor wanted to publish it with me. I told my parents on a Sunday call. Mom said, "Is that the thing with the graphs?" Dad said, "That's good. You should help me sort through QuickBooks next time you're home." By the time I graduated, I'd already signed with a fintech startup in New York. 6 figures, plus stock options. I emailed the offer letter to my parents. Mom replied 2 days later with a thumbs up emoji. Derek called that same week to say he was moving back home because his internship fell through. They threw him a welcome back barbecue, hired a damn DJ. And you wonder how I ended up married into a family just like the one I came from. Kelly saw it once, early in our marriage. We were visiting my parents and Derek made some crack about me being the human calculator. I brushed it off. Kelly pulled me aside later and said, "Why do you let them talk to you like that?" I didn't even know how to answer. I'd let it slide for so long, I forgot there was even another option. And when you finally speak up or push back, they look at you like you're the problem, like the hammer suddenly refusing to hit the nail. I wasn't born invisible. I was trained to be, slowly, carefully. With every shrug, every ignored achievement, every "we expect this from you." But eventually, you start to believe them, so I did what I was trained to do. I worked, head down, no complaints. Landed a job with a fintech firm in Manhattan by 24, and within 5 years, I was the guy building back-end systems for investment giants most people never hear about, unless their portfolios hit 7 figures. And right on cue, Dad saw an opportunity. "Maybe you could help us out a bit," he said over the phone one night. You know, modernize things. Didn't sound like much. Just help him digitize a few spreadsheets, maybe get his taxes streamlined. I figured it'd be one weekend, 2 tops. That turned into full-on management. I ended up running point on everything. My parents' retirement investments, their credit lines, the cabin utilities, the property tax assessments. Then Kelly's side got in on it. Her dad wanted help moving some brokerage accounts. Judith wanted tax loss harvesting explained in normal language. Mitch wanted help setting up a Roth IRA. I was logging 5 to 10 unpaid hours a week, doing back-end work for people who didn't even thank me. And no one paid me, not a dollar. Mom would say, "It's just family, Greg. You do it anyway." Yeah, sure, family. The final straw should have been Mitch's little crypto disaster. He dumped 60 grand into some dog-themed coin, rode the pump, and didn't pull out in time. Kelly told me not to embarrass him when we visited that weekend. Like I was the one who should feel bad for catching the damn thing in the first place. I built the whole financial ecosystem they lived in. Every password, every login, every redundant backup and automation script was me. I made it easy for them to ignore their messes because I was always behind the curtain pulling levers. And you know what Judith told her friends at the country club? He works with computers. It's like a little tech hobby. I built a system that could have run a mid-size firm. I ran it for free. And no one, not even my own wife, ever said, "Greg makes this all possible." I brought it up once to Kelly. We were in bed, lights off. I said, "Do you think they even know what I do for them?" She sighed, long and slow. Then she said, "It just keeps the peace, Greg. Don't make it a thing," so I didn't. I swallowed it, like everything else. I wasn't her partner. I was her buffer. The one who made sure the house didn't catch fire while she pretended her family wasn't a bunch of financial toddlers. It didn't hit all at once. That kind of realization doesn't come like a slap. It creeps in, quiet and slow, like water under the floorboards. You only notice when the rot starts showing. I was the architect of the whole system. And somehow, I was still just the guy who's good with Excel. The week it all finally snapped started like any other. Too much noise, too many people depending on me for things they never acknowledged. I was finishing up quarterly reports for Kelly's parents when the text came in. Family brunch at Willow Hill. 11 a.m. Your attendance is expected, not a request, a summons. From Judith. What she didn't know, what none of them knew, was that I'd just seen the Mohegan Sun charges on Mitch's account. $78,000, drained over the last 3 months. He'd masked it under generic transaction codes, but I wasn't an amateur. I'd flagged it the night before and sat on it, let it marinate. I didn't tell Kelly, not yet. That Sunday, I put on a tailored navy shirt and slate gray slacks. Sharp, clean lines, conservative, but not trying too hard. Kelly came into the bedroom, already dressed in some floral thing Judith probably approved of, and said, "Can we just have a normal brunch for once?" "Sure," I said, tightening my watch, "as long as no one talks." She didn't respond, just grabbed her purse. The drive to Willow Hill was quiet. Golf carts zipped past the hedges when we pulled in. Place looked like a damn postcard. The hostess greeted us like we were royalty, but when I said our name, she only smiled at Kelly. We walked in, and they were all already seated. Judith, Martin, Mitch, even Martin's brother Stu, who never showed unless there was something in it for him. The table was long, covered in white linen, silverware lined up like soldiers. "Look who finally made it," Judith said. No smile, just that sharpness behind the teeth. Martin flagged down the waitress before we sat. "We'll have 5 mimosas," he said, then glanced at me. "Greg will just have black coffee." Didn't even ask me. The waitress didn't blink. She was probably used to this table by now. I sat next to Kelly, across from Mitch. He looked rough, eyes puffy, collar unbuttoned, shaking his leg under the table like he was strung out. I met his eyes, and he looked down fast. Knew what I knew I'd seen it. "So," Judith said, "how's the computer hobby going?" Before I could answer, Stu jumped in. Yeah, Greg, didn't you help someone get their 401k back after they got hacked? That was you, right? I just nodded. Judith snorted. All that tech stuff. I still say a good banker never needed a password. Kelly smiled politely. Said nothing. Quick note? Before listening, share which city or country you're watching from. Then came the pitch. Mitch leaned forward like a guy trying to sell me a used car he stole an hour ago. Hey man, he said quietly. I've been trying to pull a little more from the trust for a project I'm working on. Business thing, just need you to adjust the limits. What kind of business? I asked. He blinked. You know, real estate adjacent. I stared at him. Adjacent? He looked away, took a long sip of his mimosa. The food came. Eggs Benedict, truffle potatoes, a pile of bacon that Judith wouldn't touch, but insisted be served for presentation. I didn't eat. Kelly asked her mom about some fundraiser. Martin started in on the Fed. Stu argued about interest rates, the usual circus. I just sipped my coffee and watched it all happen, like I wasn't even there. Then Judith leaned in, that same slow lean I'd seen since the day I married her daughter. You're lucky we even invite you anymore, she said. Pity goes a long way. No one flinched, not even Kelly. Just silence. Forks clinking. That was the moment, not the words, not even the tone. It was the silence after, that shared understanding that no one at that table would ever take my side. Not Mitch, who I'd saved from bankruptcy more than once. Not Martin, whose accounts I balanced every damn quarter. And not Kelly, my wife, the one person who should have said something, anything. Instead, she fixed her napkin and looked away. I wasn't a husband. I was infrastructure, invisible until something failed. After the plates were cleared and the check was handled without them even glancing my way, we walked back to the car. Kelly didn't ask what was wrong. I didn't offer it. I opened her door, got in on my side, started the engine. We drove in silence all the way home, and the whole time, I knew what was coming. We pulled into the driveway, and I didn't even bother shutting the garage. Kelly got out first, didn't say a word. She walked inside, slipped off her heels by the door, and headed straight upstairs like it was just another Sunday. I stood in the kitchen for a second, looked at the clock on the microwave, 11:47. Then I turned on my laptop. The financial hub opened in seconds. Every account I'd ever set up for them, Judith, Martin, Mitch, even a few of Stu's shell LLCs, logged in and laid out like a digital empire. And I was the emperor, so I started with access. One by one, I revoked every admin right. First Martin, then Judith, then Kelly. Mitch didn't even notice he had admin privileges. He thought money just magically appeared. Gone. Next, I froze the cards. Judith's Amex, Martin's Visa tied to the estate account. Mitch's business debit card, which I knew had been used to buy bottle service at Mohegan Sun 3 times in the last month. Then I flagged the trust, not just a freeze, legal review. I opened a direct line to the firm's compliance division, marked Mitch's activity as suspicious, and attached every transaction log going back 12 months. Timestamps, IPS, flagged vendors. I moved fast, methodical, quiet. Nobody saw it coming. Last stop, the New Hampshire cabin. I opened the email to Annette, my attorney, and typed, subject, cabin ownership enforcement. Body, family has started unauthorized renovations. Need to enforce my rights. See attached, I attached copies of Grandma Irene's will, clear as daylight. Kelly and I were joint owners. But the study? That was mine, specifically named. She'd even written a letter, not legally binding, but clear in intention. Greg needs that space for his work. Leave it alone. They were turning it into a wine bar, for entertaining. Judith had said it like it was nothing. I'd worked from that room every summer for 9 years. I installed the router, ran the cabling myself, even built the damn bookshelves. That space wasn't just a study. It was the only place in that entire family where I had something that was mine. And they thought they could just rip it out to pour Chardonnay and gossip about golf tournaments. I uploaded photos of the room, blueprints, expense breakdowns, every dollar I'd put into that cabin since 2011. They didn't track it, but I had. Then I opened the file marked fail safes. Inside were backups, full exports of financial histories, user logs, email threads, even screenshots of passive-aggressive texts from Judith over the years. They thought I was the guy who hit pay bills. They never realized I was the guy who built the entire structure they were living in. Annette picked up on the first ring. I didn't even need to explain. "I was wondering when you'd finally stop playing dead," she said. "That's the kind of lawyer you want when you're going to war. One who already has the sword sharpened." I gave her the rundown. Unauthorized renovations, mishandled trust funds, my locked-out admin accounts. "You're not cutting them off," she said, typing as we talked. "You're just refusing to be exploited." There's a legal difference by that afternoon. She'd filed the first injunction, stopping all renovations on the cabin. Cease and desist letters went out to the contractor, the county office, and Mitch directly. I copied Kelly on everything. No secrets. Next, I drafted my resignation as financial administrator for the family. Attach PDFs of every account, detailed summaries, balances, login instructions they'd never read. I emailed Martin personally. Subject: transition of financial oversight. Body: per your wife's request, I'm stepping back. All current accounts and records are attached. Best of luck. The fallout started within the hour. Mitch called first. 3 missed calls in 5 minutes. Then a text: "You screwed me, man. I've got people to pay." I didn't respond. Then came Martin's lawyer, some old-school firm in Hartford. First it was threats, something about willful disruption of financial duties, and familial breach of fiduciary responsibility. Annette shut it down cold. "Funny how quickly they learn legal terms when the money stops," she said. The next day they tried a different angle. Martin offered to compensate me for my time, 10 grand flat, to come back on board. Said they'd rebuild trust. I told Annette to counter with a demand for back pay and formal indemnity for every financial decision I'd ever made on their behalf. They ghosted us after that. Then Kelly finally spoke. It was late, maybe 10:30. She came into my office in her robe, holding her phone like it was a damn death notice. "You're tearing the family apart," she said. I looked right at her. "No, I'm finally refusing to let it tear me apart." That was it. She left the room. Door didn't slam. Just a quiet click. The silence after that was worse than yelling. Mitch kept texting, went from angry to pathetic. "I'm screwed, man. My lease is tied to that trust. You could have given me a heads-up number." That's what he never got. This was the heads-up. Every late-night balance correction, every flag charge, every quiet fix. I had given them a heads-up for years. They just never listened. Annette filed formal notifications with the Trust's Compliance Board. We documented every misuse of funds, every ATM pull at a casino, every PayPal payment to consultants who didn't exist. Mitch was under review within 72 hours. The contractor tried to keep working at the cabin until the county flagged the project. No permits, no inspection. Work was halted mid-install. Martin sent one last email. No greeting, no sign-off. Just one sentence. "You've made a serious mistake." I hit delete. And Kelly? She still came home every night, still made herself dinner, but she stopped wearing her ring, stopped asking how my day was, like we were two coworkers passing in a hallway. Annette asked me if I wanted to file for separation. I told her no, not yet. Let them sit in it. Let them feel what I had felt for years. It didn't take long for everything to unravel. The renovation crew got shut down within the week. County flagged unpermitted electrical work, wiring done by a buddy of Mitch's, no inspection, no license, all progress halted, site taped off. I didn't say a word, just watched the photos roll in from the inspector Annette hired. Half-installed lighting, drywall stacked in the driveway, and that study, the one that was supposed to be mine, torn apart mid-demo. Mitch went silent for a few days, then reappeared with a brand new level of panic. His trust had been fully locked by the oversight committee. Legal review pending. He defaulted on his car lease, lost the apartment with the skyline view, moved into a motel outside Middletown. Next thing I heard, he was working claims intake for an insurance firm. Low pay, long hours, cubicle job. Honestly, it was the first time he'd held real employment since college. Judith, meanwhile, had a meltdown at the country club when her card bounced during dues payment. They cut her off. Couldn't even get into the locker room. Martin tried to cover it with a different account, but by then, the board had already flagged her for disruptive conduct. They started hosting brunch at home after that. Plastic chairs in the backyard. Kelly tried to play peacemaker. She sat across from me at the kitchen table one night, wringing her hands like she was trying to squeeze out a better version of the conversation. "You've made your point," she said. "Everyone's hurting." I looked her dead in the eye. I was never trying to hurt anyone. I'm just done being the family janitor. She didn't like that, but she didn't argue either. We went quiet again after that. Weeks passed like fog. Then Annette emailed. Martin was offering a cash settlement on the cabin, $450,000. Full release of my ownership, my rights, everything. I took it, and I used every damn penny to buy a place of my own. 2-bedroom cabin near Lake Winnipesaukee. Clean lines, open floor plan, stone fireplace, no shared deeds, no shared anything. The study has floor-to-ceiling windows and a solid oak desk. No one touches it but me. First weekend I stayed there, I turned off my phone Friday night and didn't turn it back on until Monday morning. Sat on the dock with a cold beer, grilled a ribeye, and finished a book I'd been too distracted to get past chapter 4 of for 3 years. Silence didn't feel empty anymore. It felt earned. A few months later, Kelly sent me a text, just one line. "I hope you're happy." I didn't respond. She already knew the answer. Fall rolled in fast that year. The lake got quiet, tourists packed up, and I settled into a rhythm that didn't involve cleaning up after anyone but myself. Back in Connecticut, though, they were slipping, one overdue bill at a time. Martin ended up hiring a financial advisor out of desperation. Took him 3 months just to get into the accounts. He kept calling Annette asking for help recovering passwords. She referred him to the customer support line, like everyone else. Judith scaled down her life in phases. First, the gala invites dried up. Then she sold a few handbags. When the Bentley lease got canceled, she told people they were downsizing to feel more grounded. Grounded. That woman hadn't stepped on an unpolished floor since the 80s. Mitch, to his credit, tried. He kept going to meetings. Someone told me he was sponsoring other guys now. He texted me once. 6 months clean, hope you're well. I stared at the message for a while before typing back. Good. Keep going. That was it. No back and forth. No invitation to reconnect. Just a clean line in the sand. Kelly moved back in with her parents for a while. I heard she took over some of Judith's charity work, probably trying to patch up the image. Then the paperwork came. Petition for legal separation. No blame listed. Just irreconcilable differences. I didn't fight it, didn't drag it out. I gave her what was fair. House equity, car, some savings. Enough to walk away clean and quiet. We signed everything over Zoom. 2 lawyers, 2 faces, no eye contact. When it ended, she said, "I never thought it would come to this." I said, "Yeah, that's the problem." The call ended, just like that. People always expect revenge to be loud, yelling, slashed tires, scorched earth. But real power doesn't shout. It withdraws. It goes silent and lets the weight of absence crush what's left. I didn't ruin them, I just stopped saving them. Martin kept fumbling through spreadsheets he didn't understand. Judith stopped hosting and started gossiping. Mitch stayed broke but sober. And Kelly? She faded into the background, same way I had for years. I wasn't bitter. I wasn't smug about it either. I was just done. I spent that first winter splitting firewood and learning how to cook meals that didn't come from a microwave. Nobody asked me to fix a trust fund. Nobody called me at midnight in a panic over a missing tax return. I still had the card Mitch sent pinned to the fridge. Still clean. Hope you're doing all right. I didn't take it down. I didn't add to it either. That card was enough. Sometimes I sat on the porch at night with a bourbon in my hand and thought about what could have been if someone, anyone, had just seen me for who I was instead of what I could do for them. But then I'd look out at the dark water and feel nothing but peace. 2 years later, I was still out at the lake every weekend. No calendar alerts, no surprise emergencies. Just me, the trees, and water that didn't ask anything of me. Last spring, I built a shed, spent 3 weekends framing it out by hand. No blueprints, no help. Just a tape measure, a miter saw, and the kind of focus you only get when the rest of the noise is gone. I got into woodworking, started with a basic table, then a chair, then a full set of shelves for the study. That room, floor-to-ceiling windows, sunlight on the desk by 8 a.m., became my sanctuary. My fingerprints were in every board, every joint. I did freelance consulting when I felt like it. Only took clients I liked. No middlemen, no family favors, just clean transactional work that ended when the invoice cleared. My circle was small by design. Rick, my neighbor across the way, came by on Saturdays. We played poker in the shed, drank cold beer, didn't talk about anything deeper than football or bad movie sequels. The way I liked it. Mitch sent a Christmas card last year. Still clean. Hope you're doing all right. Simple, no ask, no guilt. I pinned it on the fridge between a fishing license and a photo of the shed going up. Judith, from what I heard, was still trying to control the narrative. Told people I'd abandoned the family for some sort of midlife crisis. Claimed I was unstable, bitter, selfish. Let her. I wasn't in that story anymore. People ask if I miss them. Truth is, I don't. I miss who I thought they were. But that version never really existed. It was just the role I'd cast them in so I could feel like I belonged to something. Now I belong to myself. If you're listening to this and stuck in a family that only sees you for what you do, not who you are, walk away. You'll be scared. They'll say you're overreacting, that you're the one who changed. They're right. You did change. You stopped accepting crumbs and started building your own damn table. The hardest part is the silence. But if you let it stretch, if you sit with it long enough, it becomes peace.